Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy AJ Trip, and welcome to That to Shoot. This is my weekly show where I talk about the goings on in the world of professional wrestling, talk about the good and put over, I talk about the bad and bury, and we have a main topic that we discuss at the end. So, without question, let's get started as we always do by putting over some of the best things I saw this week in wrestling. As always, we start with put over, and the first thing you gotta put over is R-Truth Brock Lesnar segment from Monday Night Raw. This was just fantastic. Truth is a legend. Even though he hasn't had the legendary career, he is the epitome of a sports entertainer. He is what Vince would want. He can, do his stuff in the ring like he can, but then he can also do the side stuff and the entertainment part of it. He can do the sports part of it, and he can do the entertainment part of it. So, I'm surprised. I won't be surprised if R-Truth doesn't get in, you know, very very soon. I don't know how long he's gonna continue to go, but it's gonna be fantastic. So he's been great for the last 2 years. He's just been incredible with what he's done in the WWE with the 24/7 stuff, and then all of the and it goes back a long time. You can go back and you can go check YouTube for the best of our truths, and this has just been always been hilarious. So yeah, love that. Um, and for here, I'm gonna do the Buddy Murphy Aleister Black match part 3. It was a great match. Aleister Black has won all 3 matches, and then that leads right into um, Buddy Murphy at the end joining the Seth Rollins faction with AOP. So now here we are. We have and who knows if this was what the way they was going all along, or if this was to counteract the inner circle. But it doesn't matter. I love having factions, and I love having more than 3 men. I love having, because some reason Vince has only wanted a group to be like of 3 guys, the last several years. But having more guys in a group would be good. It would be good if they would add a woman or two to that faction, maybe another person, you know, someone who someone who is just there to, like, take the beat down, almost like how Virgil what used to be, or Vincent as they called it in the NWO. Vincent he was always the one taking the big bump, for like the good guys in WCW. So maybe get someone like that, so that they can take, and hopefully that's not Buddy Murphy. Hopefully they're setting up a thing where Seth is the main eventer, Buddy Murphy's the mid card, and then AOP is your tag team. But I love this entire group faction, and it starts off with the Buddy Murphy Aleister Black match, which is incredible. What maybe the finish was a botch, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. But it didn't take away from the match. Tremendous match. Now Aleister Black also needs to go on, and he needs to find some light in his tunnel as well. So I'm sure they're gonna, and I hope it doesn't continue on very quickly. I hope at some point they do meet again, Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black, and now he has AOP and Seth Rollins behind him to help him get over Aleister Black. So I like to see that. Um, the Matt Riddle Pete Dunne match against their opponents. I don't know who they were, but they were fantastic. In the Dusty Classic, I thought that was really good. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know the guys who they were wrestling very well at all, actually. But they put on a tremendous match, some great action in this match. Love the finish of the match. I love the fact they've actually tried to come together and they try to put their stuff together. I like that. When because sometimes putting 2 people together and they just don't do anything. But when they try to put their moves together to try to make them seem like a real tag team, that is very very, very well, and I like that. So, and it was a fantastic match. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle won, but I thought it was a fantastic match, a good way to start off NXT. And another good way to start off a TV show was on the Fatal 4-Way Tag match on the EW. I thought that was fantastic. And again, I just talked about Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle trying to put their moves together. And same thing's happening with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. They're putting their stuff together, and to try to make, you know, I guess since they're going to be a quote unquote tag team, and they're trying to put their stuff together, and the V trigger buckshot lariat combo is a great finisher, I think, and they actually won the fatal four way tag match. And also what I loved about it was the storytelling, because they're still doing this thing with the elite, where Hangman Page is trying to distance himself from the elite, and Young Bucks part of the elite in the match as well, and he kind of came in and basically kind of takes away the match, and the Young Bucks are like, dude, what are you doing? But him and Face are like, hey, it's every team for himself. Maybe you and Kenny Omega are trying, because that's what them and Kenny Omega, they were like getting along and everything like that. But he's like, no, I'm here to get an opportunity at the tag match. And then the underlying story, I talked about this last week, of just him with the drinking. And I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure where they're going with it. I don't want it to go with he's having a drinking problem. I don't want him to do that. But I want them to keep keep this going along, where at some point something happens and they drop the part of the drinking, and then he turns on them completely. I don't know if he's going to be part of the Dark Order. I don't know what he's going to do, but the stuff with Hangman Page, I feel, is truly awesome right now. And the tag match was great. The Best Friends, they were doing their stuff. Orange Cassidy, whatever. I'm with Jim Cornette on Orange Cassidy. I'm not a big fan of him. So, but all in all, I thought the matches were fantastic. And now to bury. And what I'm going to bury first is the AEW Women's Division. Once again, we talked about this last week with that whole women's match debacle. And they had a tag match this week where it was Chris Stanlander and I'm going to mess up her name, so I apologize. But she's like the number one contender, basically, for the championship. Um, and they had a match with Brandy Rhodes and Mel from the Nightmare Collective, and you know it was all right. It was nothing special, but I think the main thing that it comes out is that it doesn't seem to be talk about nothing special. There seems to be nothing special about this women's division. Now I understand that WWE has gobbled up all of the talent in the women's division and the women out there. For the most part, there's still some women out there on the indies and everything like that that are very, very good, and I'm sure they could, I'm sure AEW could use them. But the women that AEW have right now are one, you know, they are they aren't as good as you would think, at least in my opinion. And two, I think for the most part, they aren't doing the things to try to get them over. So if these are young names or something like that, they need to do things like there should be squash matches. I mean, the biggest name they have is Britt Baker, but you know Britt Baker not because of her wrestling ability. You know her for two things: one, her also being a dentist, and two, she's the wife or girlfriend of Adam Cole. So and that can't be why you push Big Breaker. Now they a couple weeks ago they started like what looks to be a slow burn heel turn, and that's fine and dandy. Maybe that might help her out actually. But there needs to be more things going on, and they're just not pushing it right now. And it doesn't hurt that their women's champion Riho also works in Stardom, the women's wrestling organization in Japan, and she focuses over there most of the time. And so that doesn't help a lot either. And I think they probably need to take the title off of Riho at some point and put it on put it on a lady um, that can stay over here in America. Um, and I'm not saying that they that you can't go over and do stuff in Japan, but maybe they need to be over here most of the time because I think you don't see Rio all that often. And maybe this is hypocritical because I'm a type of person that I don't mind Brock Lesnar having the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship and him going away, for months on end and then coming back, like for the big, big stuff. I'm not, I'm someone that doesn't mind that. But and maybe that is hypocritical to say, but I feel like AEW being a newer division, newer and Rio not being maybe the name that Brock Lesnar is, maybe you need Rio to be on TV more often. And I'm not saying she needs to be on television every week. Obviously, I don't think that, but maybe she needs to be, doing. If she's gonna be over there, maybe you need to be doing vignettes, and you need to be doing promos with her, so that she's kept on our minds. You know what I'm saying? So, and all in all, the women's division right now is just a big cluster, and I think one of the rumors that I heard was that Cody was doing the singles matches for men for the booking. The Young Bucks were doing the booking for the tag matches, and Kenny Omega was doing the booking for the women. And um, if that is the case, then I think one of the things that you do need to do is that you need to probably have one person do the booking on everything. Whether it's Cody or Omega or the Bucks, or even someone else. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe the executive vice presidents can be Cody, the Bucks, and Omega, but maybe they need to put somebody. They need to hire somebody backstage. Maybe like even Dustin to be the booker, and just have and just have one person book. So, but yeah, the women's division is right now not really good in AEW. Another thing about AEW is, and this is primarily Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho is the one that has done it several times on the just cursing for no reason, just so that he can say shit, you know, and it goes through on national television, or ass or bitch or whatever, or whatever, there's no need for that. Oh yeah, ooh, you're AEW. You're gonna be the alternative to WWE, and they don't curse, or what they when they curse, it's so scripted and everything like that. No, there's no need for that. I mean, it really isn't. I'm not a big fan of them just you know having Chris Jericho or anybody for that matter just say shit, or because I think one of the things, right? Because I think one of the things, like I didn't watch it, but I remember reading on Twitter that night when it was like the Kenny Omega, uh, um, John Moxley match. Apparently John Moxley looked in the screen and said, "Here comes the fucking garbage wrestling." I mean, what's that about? Really? So I mean, come on. There's no need to be going all out like that. Just do what you got to do. Um, and then finally, we're gonna go back to Raw. I mentioned this last week as well, but again, it's just I may keep burying it until they do something different, and that's the Eric Rowan squash match. I mean, come on, guys, let's stop. This has been 2 months now. You know, this has been out since October, since we had the thing with Fox and the new draft and everything like that. To just continue on with this Eric Rowan storyline where he's got something in the cage, and all he's not doing anything big. He's messing with local talent, and it's time to stop that. It really is. It's time to piss or get off the toilet with this Eric Rowan angle. And let's hope. Excuse me. Let's hope that they do either one very soon. And now for our main topic. And our main topic today is the Tessa Blanchard controversy that started last week. Um, Pretty much after I did after I did my little show, my little that to shoot last week, basically it started coming out that it was there was some stuff going down with. Was it last week? No, I don't think it was last week after my show. I think it was I think it was actually Friday. It was the day before actually, and and it came out about Tessa Blanchard had she had put out a tweet. It was very condescending about women empowerment and uplifting women and things like that. And then it just started coming out of the woodworks where people were bringing the receipts, as they like to say, about Tessa Blanchard and about her stuff, including apparently one time in Japan spitting in a black woman's face and calling her the N word. Um, and many other things. And then other people have come out talking about her bullying tactics, her treating other women bad when they would get together. There was a lot of controversy about this. Um, and then she went out the next night and won the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. She has come out and denied to the fact that she has um, that she used any of those languages. Um, and anything like that. So, um, listen, I was not there. One of the wrestlers, Sienna, Allison Kay, however whatever she continues to go by, about two different names. She says that it's true, and there are two other people, and something like that. She also said that the reason why she came out is because she saw the tweet. She talked to she texted the woman that was allegedly that it was it was done to. She said, can I talk about this? And she gave her permission to. And there's two other people apparently that can corroborate that story as well. So listen, it is a very, very bad thing if this is true for Tessa Blanchard. I mean, listen, you cannot just say anything you want to. Now, whether I'm somebody that says that if you use a slur, that does not necessarily make you racist. It doesn't make you racist or sexist or homophobic or transphobic or anything like that. And it makes you ignorant and very stupid, but that does not mean that you are one of those things. That you may not hate black people if you use the N word, or you may not hate gay people if you use the F word, or you may not, you know, whatever. Whatever the slur is, you may not hate Mexicans if you use the S word, but or Jewish people if you use the K word, any of that. But like I said, it makes you ignorant without question, because that's not something that you should say. If you at that point are in such a point where you are hating this person, and I can understand it. Sometimes you get to a point where you are so in hate at that moment with a person that you just want to say the the most hateful thing you can to that person. I understand that, but I also think that you also need to have some common sense about this as well, because that cannot, you cannot just say anything like that as well. You may want to say the most hateful thing, and you think, well, the N word is the most hateful thing to say at this point in time. But no, that's also crossing a line. And sure, and maybe even saying the most hateful thing, even if it wasn't the N word, can be crossing a line. But you can also apologize for that. And she can apologize for saying the N word as well, although she has again denied even saying it. But it's it's just a line that you just can't cross. It really isn't. And Tessa might have crossed that. And we'll have to see what goes on. We'll see if more people have any more receipts when it comes to Tessa Blanchard and her treatment of women, and her saying the N word, or her being racist or anything like that. And so we'll have to wait and see. And so then let's talk about you know, the other controversy, I guess you could say, and that's her being a woman winning the Impact Heavyweight Championship. She beat Sami Callihan for it. Booker T has said that it is the worst thing, the stupidest thing in professional wrestling to ever happen. And I am not somebody that is big on intergender wrestling. I just I'm not for it. To a certain point. because I am, and maybe call me someone that who is someone who is a relic or old school. But yeah, I think there are certain. I think you know it's different when Nia Jax enters the Rumble and she's out there with Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. I can see Nia Jax doing intergender wrestling. I can see that. You know, I can see Austin Kong doing it. I can definitely see Nyla Rose doing it. Obviously, I can see certain women do intergender wrestling. I can also see, and also depending on the wrestler as well. Because if Zelina Vega was wrestling Rey Mysterio, obviously these are two luchadors. They can do lucha things. So, as Kalisto would say, and I can maybe even see that. But if you're gonna tell me that if Charlotte Flair was gonna go up against, let's just say, Brock Lesnar, right? He's gonna wrestle Brock Lesnar. No, that's not something that should be happening. And some of these things are out there; they are happening, and and I think that intergender wrestling can be done, but it can be done in a certain way with certain types of things. Like when you have um what's his name, James Ellsworth, who is very much a he's very much a very slender, slow wrestler. Like the guy from AEW, Marco Stunt. If Marco Stunt was doing intergender wrestling, that would be perfect. Instead of being out there with those, you know, guy and out there with the guys, if he was wrestling with the girls, that would be fun because he's their size, and you know, and it would make more sense that he could hang he could be in a ring hanging with them instead of doing all of these tilt the world DDTs on these 6'4" dudes, and then having them sell for him. So I think it all depends on the intergender wrestling, but. Tessa Blanchard is the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Well, it was done is basically done to try to get some viewers to Impact. That's basically why it was done. It was I believe it was done for that, and also Tessa Blanchard. She is a pretty big name in wrestling, in particular with women. So having maybe the biggest star in professional wrestling that is a woman, and she arguably is. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Tessa Blanchard. Those are probably, you know, the biggest stars, and she can be arguably at least active. We all know that if Ronda comes back, it's Ronda Rousey, but she could be the biggest star in professional wrestling that is a female. And if she and so to put the title on her is just it is what it is. It's a selling point to try to get people to watch Impact Wrestling. So we'll have to see where it goes. I don't know if it's going to be the worst idea in wrestling. I don't know if it's the worst thing to happen in wrestling. Um, but we can see what goes on from there. With both the in-ring controversy and the outside the ring controversy when it comes to Tessa Blanchard. All right, y'all, that's going to be it for this episode of That's a Shoot. Another episode comes to you next Saturday, so make sure you click that notification bell to make sure you don't miss it when I do upload it. And make sure you also like and subscribe as well. And if you like what I do here when it comes to wrestling, or it comes to sports, or it comes to television, or anything else I do, and you want to help a brother out, click the link down in the description box below for the Patreon. It is there. We have 3 tiers. It's $1, $10 tier, and a $25 tier. And when I get to 100 Patreons, I will start taking suggestions about videos to do here on YouTube, about topics for podcasts to talk about on my podcast, and even what to play on Twitch. So you're going to want to make sure that you are, if you want to do some programming of my content, make sure you go to patreon.com/AJTrip. Link is down in the description box down below. You can go there. So now, post any comments you have below about my putovers, about any of my berries, and of course about the main topic. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJ Trip, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.